Welcome to our Lunchtime Live program on WJEJ. It's a partnership once a month, the third Thursday of the month, with Washington County Public Schools. This is Will Kaufman from the Public Information Office, joined by Cody Pine, our Career Technology Education Program Specialist. Cody, welcome. It's good to have you. First shot?
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm feeling good.
Cody and I are formally announcing that we're not candidates, whether interim or full-time, for the superintendent's position.
Not at all.
You know, we'll work our way up, maybe in the future, but not soon.
True.
Tell me about career technology education, just the broad scope of it. What's the opening overall description of what it is that you do?
Well, what makes career technology education differ from regular education is that it's the technical skill attainment that comes with the academic skill attainment. So really what we're doing is preparing students for today's workforce.
There's been the old, and I guess there was, it all kind of blended together over the years, maybe different terminology now. I think some folks probably still think in terms of an old vo-tech school from years ago. What's the difference in career technology education and vocational technical education from those years ago?
Well, we have moved away from calling it vocational education from now, but we still teach some of the old trade programs such as carpentry, electrical, things like that. But career technology education today has advanced so far, so much more academically than it used to be. We have programs from the biomeds to the engineering disciplines. We're heavy into STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. But we also have highly specialized programs such as the Fire Academy, the Homeland Security, the Criminal Justice. Again, I feel that Washington County has the best career technology education program in the state.
How is it determined, the list of offerings, whether from school to school, across the county? How do we know at the top, alphabetically from A to Z, how do things get to the list? How are they reviewed? How are they studied? I mean, how do we know what comes and goes, what sticks, what's successful, and what's not?
Well, that's a great question. In fact, we have program advisory committees for each cluster. Right. Now, in Maryland, we have 10 career clusters. They are arts, media, communication, business management and finance, construction and development, consumer services, hospitality, tourism, environmental, agricultural, natural resources, health and biosciences, human resources, information technology, manufacturing and engineering, and then transportation technology. So each of those 10 groups have a program advisory committee, which consists of post-secondary school officials, high school or Washington County Public School employees, and then business and industry partners. They take a look at the labor market. They take a look at the labor needs. They do analysis of what jobs are in demand. Where do we need to have students fill positions? And after the market trends are, evaluated, and then they decide, here's what we need trained people for. So that's sort of how programs get developed.
Are we mandated to be a part of each of the 10 clusters? It's not.
No.
Okay.
No. We're not mandated to be a part of any of those. In fact, we can have some locally designed programs, but it has to meet the criteria from the MSDE,
right? Of
course. But it's all based on community needs, the labor market needs, the trends, the analysis. We want to educate our students to be citizens here at home, so they don't have to move away to get a job.
Right.
But also we want to be an asset to our employers, so that we are providing them with the skill and the technical education that they are requiring.
I realize you haven't been at this that long, but it has always seemed to be, and I can't imagine that you haven't recognized this in a big way so far, that community, that business and industry involvement as partners is just crucial to this.
Yes, it is. And that's career technology education in itself. We are in business, so to speak, to provide for the business and industry. So yes, those partnerships are growing. We are, in fact, now we are instituting a local advisory committee, which that board consists of one member from each program advisory committee from each cluster. So it's in essence a big web. However, those folks are the ones that help us make decisions. Now, they don't make decisions for us, but they sort of guide us. Hey, we need more kids coming out in the Homeland Security field. Examples, things like that.
What's been the biggest challenge for you in getting up and running and getting a handle on? This is no small endeavor. I mean, we've had programs across the county, big ones, popular ones. Washington County Technical High is a all-in-one shot.
Right.
Is a microcosm of everything about this.
Right.
This is big stuff.
There are 17 career technology education completer pathways just at Washington County Technical High School. So I guess the biggest challenge for me is looking at all the programs, all the program offerings, providing the support that they need, making sure that the curriculum is up to speed, making sure that teachers have what they need, the resources they need, making sure they have the training, the professional development they need. Because we have so many teachers. We have around 85 teachers in career technology education. So the biggest challenge for me is sort of getting a handle on the whole. And then once, but I've done that through examining each piece individually. So now I'm putting it together as a whole. And then we have to provide technical data to Maryland State Department of Education because we do get grantings. So we have to make sure that we are in line with the regulations so that we can continue to get those fundings.
Give me an example. Give us an example of resource, a resource need, either for a teacher or for a program. Run us through the process, how you determine. I assume you hear from them.
Well,
hey, Cody, I could use this, whatever that means.
Well, since we are so highly specialized, each career technology education program is specific. Right. So, for example, if we're examining Homeland Security, and we are looking at, they use information technology all the time, and technology becomes out of date in a year. So the Homeland Security teacher may come to me and say, "Hey, we need a new, monitoring system, or we need a new dispatch system to train kids on," and that's sort of how we look at it. But also, like the older, trades types programs, like the automotive, which is still highly, technical. They need supplies because again, now they're talking to computers and cars, so that technology goes out of date quickly as well.
What has been phased out? What's a program that the time's caught up with? The county in its shifts in the way we do business, in the types of jobs. What's passé now that had been that you would have described as, say, hot or a trend 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
In the past, the building trades were hot. Masonry, plumbing, those things for us in this county have sort of gone by the wayside because there wasn't just a demand for them. Right. Now, again, am I saying there's not a demand for a plumber?
Sure.
No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I'm saying that for us to use our resources wisely, we had to listen to our community businesses saying, "Hey, here's what we sort of need." So that's sort of where how we base our decisions on programs. And you also have to look at the number of kids that are interested in it. Right. So I mean, if you only have 2 kids signing up for a plumbing program and you're spending resources, you have a faculty member for that program, you have all the resources for that program, you have all the curriculum needs for that program, all the professional development for that program. It's pretty expensive, and your return. And I hate to sound like it's a business because we're really here for kids, but the return of investment it has to fall in line somewhere. Now, what's that magic number? I have no idea, but it sort of plays into that decision process.
On the other side of that question and thought, what are they lined up for?
Lots of our programs, fire and rescue, Homeland Security. They are, but all the biomedical sciences at Technical High School and elsewhere, the students really want to be in those programs because they're in demand.
Tell me about the difference between Washington County Technical High School in a self-enclosed sort of situation, and yet there are individual programs in each of the high schools. What's the difference?
Well, the comprehensive program, or the comprehensive high school programs, students are, when they go into high school, they're eligible to sign up for that career technology education program in their 9th grade year. Some programs are specific to high schools. Some share the same program. Washington County Technical High School is a little bit different because they are an all-inclusive high school for 11th and 12th grade students. All CTE programs are accessible by any student. Does that mean every student will make it into that program? Not necessarily, right. But every student is eligible. There's equitable opportunity for everyone.
If I'm in Community A, where that program is not offered, how would it work if the student and the family really have some initiative that they're asking the questions? Not that price is no object, and price may not even be a factor other than at their level to get the student to that program. These programs are open across the county to anyone from the county.
Correct.
Okay.
So say I lived in Smithsburg and I wanted to go to the Finance Academy in Williamsport. I would contact Williamsport and say, here's my reasoning, here's why I want to be here, and then they'll make arrangements and you'll get special permission to go to that school if eligible.
And that's a school-based decision.
Yes.
That's the principal at Williamsport saying, yeah, come on. Or is it more than that?
It's more than that.
Okay.
It's the instructor. It's the counselors. It's the principal. It's everyone. It's all inclusive, and the student and parents. Everything's discussed because there's transportation needs, things like that.
Right. What would you like? I mean, if you could put drop a program in anywhere right now, what do you got what's at the top of the checklist for the next thing?
That's a tough one.
And we're not going to hold you to it.
No,
it's not as if, that guy Pine was talking about, wanting to establish.
I'm sure someone out there is listening who is going to hold me to this.
That's right.
I really think that the computer repair, networking, computer science, I think that's the next big thing. And it's been growing. It's been bursting at the seams, and that's going to tie in with the biosciences as well, I think, at some point.
Right. Tech High does have some existing activity going on along those lines.
Yeah, they have those programs in place. Right. I think, though, if we could expand that and make it, more industry ready, I think they would really burst at the seams.
Right. Do we have local resources and partners who can give us indications, who do give us indications now on preparing these kids along the lines of what they need specifically, or are there industry standards and any partner from anywhere around the globe could come in and say, yes, this student is ready, or no, this student is not learning what we need in our business or industry?
Well, and that's yes and no. There's the answer. Most every career technology education program offers some industry certification, some technical skill assessment certificate, so that student walks away with something value added. So, for example, if you're in the carpentry program, you're going to work through an NCCER, OSHA safety certification, and then your carpentry level 1 certification.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt because for many, many, many years, whether it's been working for the school system and doing the show for them or any, you can't get away with just reeling off the letters of programs without explaining them first. And then you can go back to the letters. It's a rule.
Okay, NCCER. Now, I figured you would put me on the spot on this, so I'm going to try to do my best. I'm not going to guarantee you that this acronym is...
Because we're not going to know.
It's the National Construction Center for Educational Resource. Yeah,
Yes.
But it isn't. The point is it's national.
Right.
And most of our industry certifications are national, and that makes them valid anywhere in the U.S.
I see press releases and/or mini ceremonies from individual schools in individual programs where the kids are and the the teachers, the supervisors of the principals, and then there potentially are industry folks who are celebrating the certifications of some of these students. Obviously, to some of us, it doesn't strike us because we're not sure what goes into it. But obviously, it's incredibly important to gain levels of certification, depending on the program.
The certification these kids are getting in these programs are sometimes, well, of course, they're industry, but sometimes they are past post-secondary. So kids going to a higher educational institution won't get as high of credential as the students coming out of these programs. Yeah. So that is really successful. That's really, worth praising.
Yeah, very much so. If you're just joining us, Cody Pine joins us on our Lunchtime Live program here on WJEJ, Washington County Public Schools here the third Thursday of the month. Cody Pine is our Career Technology Education Program Specialist, and we're talking about career technology education programs here in Washington County, and certainly the value that goes well beyond the borders of an individual school, beyond the individual county in which we teach these kids. Apprenticeship Maryland is something that has it's a program that struck me as something brand new. Is that the case?
It is new.
Okay.
It was developed by the governor in conjunction with the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. And what that program is meant to do, it's meant to allow employers to gain an employee, but while that employee is still in school. Mm-hmm. So in essence, we're doing on-the-job training. Right. So really, it can start in the summer of the junior year, and the student is going to be employed for at least minimum wage. So this makes it different than an internship program because the student's getting paid. The student has to have 450 paid hours and 1 year of skill-related coursework. So that's going to sort of tie in to give some students credits then towards graduation. And that's still all being worked out with MSDE, the Maryland State Department of Education, and the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. So being that it's fairly new, Washington County Public Schools helped pilot this program. Right. So we are still in the learning curve as well. So being on the front end of this thing, it's allowing us to, go back to DLLR and say, hey, we really ought to shift it this way. So we're getting our personal preferences in this, so which makes it nice.
It's been last year and then this year.
Yes, last year.
What have we learned in that period of time so far? And obviously in a pilot program, there's lots of note taking and there's lots of assessment and reassessment. What are some of the things that are at least up for discussion?
The biggest thing I think we've been learning is that we need to have the right student for the right job. We don't just want to place students in roles that may not necessarily be long term. We're looking for longevity, and I think the employers are looking for longevity. So. Making that match, that initial match, has been a learning curve.
How do we identify the students? Do the students express interest, or?
Yes, we're trying to educate the students, educate the counselors, and then the students will express interest, and then we'll provide them the jobs that are available that DLLR has brought on board.
And that's so the state is working the state's got the checklist working right now, as opposed to us at the local level,
and that's another challenge. Right. We sort of need someone from WCPS to be on that task force with the LLR, so that we can identify employers together.
The range of possibilities has limitations, or we could place a student in a nuclear physics lab or in a carpentry job. I mean, it runs the gamut?
Well, there are certain limitations for safety reasons.
Okay.
So, being that the students are a lot of the time minors, that means that there are certain there's a checklist that's saying that the cans and cannots. So as long as it falls in with that criteria, absolutely. And if the student's 18 and, of age so that they are eligible for those things, then by all means, nuclear power plant, whatever.
When they graduate, as this program unfolds, when these kids graduate, I guess it's between them and the employer at that point. We don't have any touch with it as far as yeah, you guys need to carry through on this, this, and this. I mean, it's really between the student and the employer. I'm thinking in terms
true.
of, are these kids going to continue just in the world of work, or do they go off to college and keep work? I mean,
Well, the beautiful part about this, and I'll call it this partnership between employers and the school system, we made some visitations to local businesses, and one particular business we were at, if if a student would want to work for them, well, there's tuition reimbursement. There's they're going to send them on to school. They're going to do on the job training. So, just saying that the student's going to go to work for them doesn't necessarily mean that's the end of their post-secondary education. Most of the time, that's not the case at all.
it's a great reflection. It's a great reflection in a number of different directions. It's a great reflection on us because, assuming that this is working on the day-to-day, we're turning over great kids, to good, solid local business and industry locations. So boy, Washington County Public Schools. This student we got is outstanding.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake for us. There's a lot at stake for the student, because certainly the students, the families, the schools don't want to fail at this.
Right.
And they want it to be a success.
But I foresee the success rates far outweighing, any of the issues we may have, because we're doing a service for the student, for the employer, and that's really what we're here for. And I can see this really potentially being wonderful.
No question.
I love it when employers come to us and say, "Hey, we need students here or here," because that's why we're here.
Are they coming to you in general terms? Are they coming to you? Are they coming to a school? How does that work?
It's across the board, because we
Okay.
do offer internships. So some of the internship employers that are out there know where they've traditionally gotten students. So a lot of the time they'll just contact that teacher of that program. But through the apprenticeship program, it'll be through the youth apprenticeship advisor. So that'll be sort of centralized, and then that person will be able to direct employers to that specific program.
All right. If there are employers listening right now, or ultimately get wind in the rebroadcast when they find it on YouTube, et cetera, what do they have to? If we've piqued their interest, they simply need to contact you.
Please contact me.
Okay.
And if you're looking for me, it's Pine Matt. It's not under Cody.
Right.
So it's PINEMAT at
Right.
WCPS.
When you go to the website, search for Pine.
Yes. And you'll find it.
PINE. And then you can go from there.
Yes, but please, if there's anyone out there listening that would have an interest, contact me.
What will you tell them? What's your opening presentation to a company? If I call you this afternoon from a local business, Cody, what can you tell me about this? How can I get involved? What's your opening pitch?
What we're going to do then is we're going to meet, and we're going to go over the application process from DLLR, and we'll get you on board through DLLR. And then you're going to tell me how many potential employees you're looking for. That way we can fill that number.
There's the possibility in bigger businesses where we could send them
20 people,
a carload or a busload.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You look at big businesses, and there's so many varieties of positions in big business. There is human resources. Right. There's information technology. There's that skilled part of that business. So yes, potentially we could send you a carload.
I'm talking with Cody Pine, who's our Career Technology Education Program Specialist with Washington County Public Schools. I had it on my agenda, although it's not really yours anymore, but you've had a hand in student service learning, the student service learning program, which is the hours that kids, community service.
Right.
It's the hours that kids do. You're not completely out of touch with that program.
No, I'm not completely out of touch, but it has shifted to the offices of counseling. Mm-hmm. So mainly the guidance counselors handle it anyway, but student service learning is saying that students need to meet a certain minimum number of hours to graduate. And some of those hours are curriculum embedded, in different grades, and some of it's on their own.
And it's mandated. They have to do the hours.
They have to have
graduate.
75 hours
right.
to graduate.
How has that changed? Has that changed over the years?
It hasn't really changed, and some of the projects that are curriculum embedded have changed, but the one thing that has changed is now that students, as soon as they graduate their 7th grade year, they're eligible to start earning independent hours.
Right.
And that has changed, but overall, the validity, the ways that the hours are earned hasn't changed.
Right. And your role that's left over for you is administrative. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I worked on the implementation plan, and that's so. But everything is transitioned.
Right. But otherwise, if folks have questions about student service learning, the Office of School Counseling in a county-wide sense, or the counseling office at individual schools,
correct,
would be, or the counselors would be the way to go for information. If folks wanted to come to you about any of what we've talked about so far, give us your phone number.
It is 301-766-2956.
What's your day look like? Is your day in the office? Is your day out at schools? Your day is out in the community? It's nonstop, is it not?
Yeah, I can't give you a specific because it changes daily. Some days for a week at a time I could be in the office, but then for a week at a time I'll be out at schools. Right. It all depends on the need.
What's the most satisfying part of this for you?
I like seeing, looking at our successes, and it's data driven. And I look at our numbers, and when I see our numbers are increasing, and this is sad to say, statistically, we measure on numbers, and
have to measure it somehow.
We do. Yep. So the accountability piece, I like seeing our numbers increase for our program quality index numbers. I like that.
Well, you're putting a lot of energy into it.
Well, it's from the good work from all of our teachers and staff. I mean, it's not me.
That's it for today. Boy, good. That's a learning experience for me, no question about it.
Well,
there's a lot that we haven't had exposure to, both on the show and I think out in the community too. There are a lot of kids, a lot of schools, a lot of different programs involved. So, it certainly worked its way out into an awareness, situation for folks in the community. But boy, you just delivered a half hour of a lot more than
I really appreciate
than we knew coming in.
I really appreciate you having me here, and I'd come back anytime, gladly.
That's a deal. That's a deal. Cody Pine with Washington County Public Schools, our Career Technology Education Program Specialist. It is our pleasure to do the show. Best of the holiday season to everyone. We'll see you in the new year, third Thursday of January, Washington County Public Schools and WJEJ.